Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sea to Sky Regional Hospital District Board meeting for June 25th. Jenna Stoner, Chair. I'd like to call this meeting to order and recognize that we are meeting today on the traditional unceded territory of the Lillooet Nation. We're grateful, as always, for them to welcome us to do our important work, hopefully hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, with the unceded on their unceded territories. Could I get a motion to approve the agenda, please? Moved by Director Ford, seconded by Director Rainbow. Any opposed? Motion carries. We are going to vary the agenda a little bit this morning because we do have a delegation here with us starting at 9:30. I'd like to welcome the folks in the room. We have Dr. Richard Cudmore, Grant McFadden, and Brian Hughes here for a presentation. So please come on up. And we'll get your presentation open, and we'll have a 5-minute presentation, then time for Q&A from the board today. Thanks so much for coming up.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us to present today. Jenna, when we spoke the chair quite a while ago, and the chair suggested that we come and make a presentation. My name is Grant McFadden.
Richard Cudmore. I'm a physician from Squamish.
Brian Hughes, a reform lawyer. This is my hunting ground for 25 years. This is a Pemberton courthouse, and spent every Thursday for 25 years here just well. So
Okay,
it's good to be back.
We assume everybody's read what we've submitted. So our vision actually for a new concept of healthcare started over 2 years ago when I learned that the building of the new hospital in its current site makes no financial sense due to the geological instability of the land. For 2.5 years of research and meetings, we can summarize, I guess, our position in 10 bullets. 1, the Sea to Sky corridor urgently needs a new regional district hospital. 2, hospitals attract other symbiotic medical and biomedical facilities. 3, a hospital requires a minimum of 8 to 10 acres for a standalone facility. 4, Vancouver Coastal Health is once again in another round of community engagements that are neglecting input from local Sea to Sky medical professionals. However, the CFO of Vancouver Coastal Health and Dr. Ballum, who's the former chair, have both stated that they like our concept of medical facilities being bundled together and built in close proximity to a hospital. 5, hospitals are expensive, but our vision proposes a way forward for a new hospital to become a large economic magnet. 6, there exists in the US and in Europe master planned wellness villages that range in size from 50 to 100 hundreds of acres that have at their hub a hospital and related biomedical facilities as well as a residential component. 7, we have found a landowner within the district of Squamish who is very interested in allocating plus or minus 100 acres for such a wellness village, which would become the first of its kind in Canada. 8, we have met with many elected officials, medical professionals, and community members across our region for the past 2 years who have encouraged us to continue to promote our vision. 9, we now need our communities to understand the enormous health challenges our current hospital is facing. And most importantly, we are now looking to you, the SSRHD Hospital Board, to become the vocal champion that will lead Vancouver Coastal Health to approve the funding of a new regional district hospital.
Moving on from that, as I said, Dr. Richard Cudmore, I've been a practicing physician in Squamish since 1978. So I've seen originally in the old original hospital, and then now the present one. The present hospital has desperately lost its ability to function. There's not enough beds. There is a very small emerge department. We have almost no diagnostics, no CT, no MRI, and we've got very little space for our ORs. We have no facilities for pediatrics. Our psychiatry department have no space to manage inpatients or outpatients. And so our vision is one of a regional district hospital that meets the needs from Lillooet down to Squamish. And the basis of this is that the hospital at the moment in Squamish is a referral hospital. People are stabilized and sent down. People in this corridor do not want that and do not need that. They would rather be managed locally within the corridor. And very occasionally people will have to be sent for esoteric complex problems. But we envisage the hospital meeting the needs for the next 30 to 50 years. And really, this is something that we hope you will help and support, because it's not feasible just to build a repeat referral type of hospital, because that is not what is required, and that is not what the population would like. And we've done extensive reviews of that. So I'm here for any questions, but hopefully you'll be able to support this vision that meets the needs of the whole corridor. There's probably for the next 30 to 50 years, and then the area could easily rise to 100,000 people in this area over the next several years. And we need to be ahead of the game. We can't suddenly decide to do something at the last moment.
Yeah. One of the current concerns our group has is that we've been privy to some information that Vancouver Coastal Health has been in talks with the District of Squamish for a parcel of land in the industrial park to perhaps put the hospital. And it's at this point, we don't have a person who has access to the political and financial and medical decision makers who will look at the various locations and models to for this area. And so we're echoing both Grant and Richard. We're seeking someone or some body who will champion our vision and ensure that we'll go review the decision maker. As it is a regional hospital, as well as perhaps a wellness village, anyone from the Sea to Sky region can take this on and perhaps be this very board. In our view, it'd be a travesty to narrow the focus to a 17-acre tract in the industrial land of Squamish, when other models such as ours should also get a fair review. Yeah, the last thing is really the 5 minutes doesn't do justice to our vision. So if anyone from the board, either individually or two or three of you wish to, or the board itself wishes to explore more information about our plan, we'd be happy to arrange a convenient time for both you and us to meet Squamish and talk about it.
The part that we're really trying to focus on now is that there is a desperate need for a new regional hospital. I don't think there's anybody that we've ever talked to, including Vancouver Coastal Health's former chair, that does not believe that a new hospital is necessary. The question that we have right now is that to simply build another regional hospital puts us in the same competition that every other hospital currently has for medical professionals. The concept of the wellness village and that ability to attract other biomedical facilities is something that's unique, and something that when we've spoken to the biomedical communities down in California and down in Vancouver, they're very interested in coming and becoming and developing that symbiotic relationships that they have with the hospital. This, listening to some people, could be unique in Canada. And what we were told is that this could literally create a new form of providing healthcare in Canada. So we have the concept, we have the vision. There are facilities like this around the world. Nothing like this exists in Canada yet. With the potential of the expansion of the airport, potential of attracting and making this sort of a hub for orthopedic surgery is also very exciting. People that we've spoken to in Vancouver are very interested in expanding their robotics firms, their artificial skin companies, and they would be very interested in coming into a concept that they could join together. So we're here right now is that we've come to the point where we think we've reached, where we are at this point. We're now looking at the SLRD and other organizations to start, lobbying the Vancouver Coastal Health, because they're in the position of just building a hospital. They're not looking beyond what this vision could be, which is something that's very attractive to everybody.
But we want to emphasize, oh, sorry, okay, sure.
Up there and appreciate that we could go on for a long time. There's a lot in this. I know that our board members have read what has been presented to them.
Yep.
And we do have a really full agenda. I'm sorry, I know 5 minutes is really tricky, but I do want to leave some time for the board to ask any particular questions here and know that you folks are available for
Sure.
follow-up.
Sure.
Does the board have any questions for our delegation today? Go ahead, Director Richmond.
Two quick questions, I guess. One, so when you, in your vision, do you see VCH being part of the funding for the village as well, or is it just the hospital and the village would grow as a separate entity?
No, absolutely not. The Bank of Coastals are just going to focus on the hospital. And whatever happens, we just want to make the point that there is space around
To create that.
and they can put in, if we can put together a wellness village, that's fine. But the main focus is we have to have hospital. And the final emphasis I wanted to make on that is that we want to make sure that the design of it is rural supported. Hitherto, we've had no contact for support, either myself as a former director and the present one. We don't want an urban environment building a facility without rural input. And this is a rural community, and that's a very important point. So,
Thank you. My second question is, what have your conversations with VCH sounded like?
Vancouver Coastal Health's position, they like the concept of having these types of facilities bundled together. I don't know if you've seen what's happened in this the Vancouver Hospital, General Hospital. Their concept is to go vertically with the same type of thing with the acute care, residential, and other biomedical facilities as well. What we're proposing is much bigger, and according to our MLA, this is what they are really promoting, but on steroids. And so the concept is that Vancouver Coastal Health is interested. One of the concerns we have is Vancouver Coastal Health, and I've been in government. The potential is that you could study this thing to death, and we could study it and study it and study it. And that's why we are looking to the elected officials to start saying, look, we need a new hospital. Don't have them tell us what they think we should get, because we're going to stand behind a long queue unless we start talking about what we need here.
Director Pettingill next.
Yeah, I was just curious about the wellness village. Like, I haven't heard anyone sort of speak against the idea of a hospital. I think the advocacy on that's been sort of clear and unanimous. The wellness village piece, my understanding is these sorts of things might not require just a hospital, but a fairly large close population density. So do you have a sense in where you've looked elsewhere of what sort of population is required to support the sort of private wellness village type aspect of this?
I can't say we've looked at it and to be able to give you numbers, but I just direct you to Lions Gate. If you walk around the Lions Gate Hospital in North Vancouver, Davies Pharmacy, it naturally attracts physiotherapists, all the medical businesses that go into the wellness of our community. And there's no reason why this wouldn't, the same thing wouldn't happen. I know Richard's spoken to the physicians in the Sea to Sky corridor. They're interested. Richard said, if where we would like the hospital and future village to go, you would find that physicians moving offices there.
And your point is excellent. I don't, I think it's important from your point of view is that our number one concern is a new regional district hospital, right? If it has land around it that can support medical issues, be it research, be it accommodation, be it offices for physicians and chiropractors and the like, that's fine. And our point is that we have a site where we can build the hospital and there's a room around it. But the main focus is we have to get the hospital built. It's got to meet the needs of this community for the next 30 to 50 years.
So to follow that, there are, one company we've spoken to, biomedical research firm, says the smallest building they would construct is 150,000 square feet. He says that if they went into this area, they would attract other facilities, similar facilities. What we're saying right now is that our focus is that we must get Vancouver Coastal Health to commit to funding and building a new regional hospital. The location and where it is secondary. And what we're saying is that we have a better mousetrap than any other place in Canada is proposing. And that's the exciting part. And so we're looking to the regional district as well as the district of Squamish to do further research in this. Like, it may not work, but the thing is that there needs to have that due diligence on something that does work elsewhere in the world.
Do you want to recognize that this board is not the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District? We are a subset of the
Right.
SLRD as the hospital district board. And so requests to the SLRD staff time need to be done through the regional district board. So just a nuance there on the board that you are talking. It's confusing because in 45 minutes we'll be meeting as the full board here. But fully appreciate that there's an economic development piece here
Yes.
that probably requires a little bit of insight and coordination, whether it's with specifically with the District of Squamish or more regionally with Area D as well, perhaps, or the SLRD more broadly. Just to try and move us along a little bit, were there any other questions for our delegation here today? These did not make it on our agenda. There was an email from this team with some proposed resolutions around this. And I think that there's one here that is in line with something that we already have been advocating for, and that is that the SLRD Hospital Board request and advocate to Vancouver Coastal Health to move quickly to approve the funding and construction of a new regional district hospital for the Sea to Sky corridor. And the other resolution that they have presented here by email is that the SLRD, in conjunction with the District of Squamish, undertake additional research into the health, social, and economic benefits of locating a regional hospital within the master plan wellness village. I feel like that second resolution is perhaps a little bit either not well suited to this particular board, just maybe something for the District of Squamish to consider, as I mentioned, but that first resolution, I see some nodding that I might put that on the table for consideration if somebody wants to talk about the second one. So the first one is that the SLRD Hospital Board request and advocate to Vancouver Coastal Health to move quickly to approve the funding and construction of a new regional district hospital for the Sea to Sky corridor, seconded by Director Richmond. Any comments on that?
Your syntax, it's
Yeah.
Sea to Sky Regional Hospital District.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank
Just for
you.
the purpose of the minutes,
Thank you.
otherwise it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my point.
Thank you very much. I was reading off there. Thank you for catching that. Just briefly, I'll speak to this. This is something that this board has long been advocating for. We're well into the, as you folks know, the Health Vision Sea to Sky process with BCH, which is their master planning process. And this has been top of our advocacy priority is expansion across for healthcare services across the corridor and anchored by a regional hospital that in Squamish, and that continues to be the vision. So I think that that is well supported by this board and will continue to take up that advocacy piece. And I think that the vision that you folks are presenting here in terms of the opportunities for both healthcare delivery as well as the economic development component is very, very interesting. I think it warrants some more discussion amongst this board and then as well with District of Squamish Council for how we actually advance that economic development piece and the research that you folks are talking about, if that makes sense. Any other comments on the motion as presented? No, I'll call the question. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Anything further from the board on this matter at this time? Not seeing any. Thank you folks so much for coming up and being here in person.
Thank
Thank you for listening.
And thank you for listening and inviting us. We're prepared. We have done a great deal of research. We spoke to a lot of people. We're more than prepared to come to any of your other meetings to make this presentation. We do have a document that we're going to be presenting to the press as well. That's very similar to what. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here.
For another, okay.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna go backwards and stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Doctor.
Thanks. Yeah. All right, we're gonna go backwards in time to item 3, and we are going to make a motion to close this meeting. Moved by Director Hooper, seconded by Director Ford. Any opposed?